So really, the thing that made me want to be a therapist from the beginning, even as a kid, I've always wanted to do something that cares for people, helping people. My family, what they did when I was a kid was they have like this book of all my grades and what I wanted to do. And if we're looking at my kindergarten, I wanted to be a baby doctor. My mom was pregnant at the time. And I sometimes look back at that now thinking like, man, I wanted to be a gynecologist or OBGYN, and here I am as a sex therapist. Really, the whole launch into therapy was started from my interest in why do people do what they do. And this is gonna be very millennial girl of me, but serial killers are very interesting. And, makes sense that human behavior and abnormal psychology is kind of the thing that has someone go into that. And as far as sex therapy, I grew up in a family that was very strict about sex. Sex was a very negative thing in my family, never really talked about. And so what I wanted to do was create a space where sex can be talked about comfortably, safely. There is somewhere for a person to explore, because I really didn't have that growing up. It really wasn't until college when I took anthropology of sex, where it just opened my worldview, and I really wanted to do that for somebody else. The one thing that people would never assume about me is the fact that I'm a sex therapist at all. I think in my day-to-day life, I am quiet, I am shy, reserved, and that doesn't really make sense when you're thinking about how do you do a job where you talk about sex all day. But it actually really works for me. I think, I'm underestimated a lot. Before this, when I was training in school, I was working with veterans. Yes, I'm shy, I'm quiet, I'm small, all of these things. I was breaking up fights between a Navy SEAL and a Marine. No problem. Yeah, they could hurt me. No, they wouldn't ever do anything like that. But I think that gives me an edge that really sets me apart. If you just think about me as this reserved person, I am way more than that. I think the one thing that I am currently trying to accept about myself is the fact that I don't have an answer for everything. I think that when I was first becoming a therapist, I thought, oh my God, I have to have a solution to every single problem. But I needed, and I constantly remind myself that I'm not gonna have the answer to everything. I am also learning and moving through life just like my clients are. And really what I can do is provide the space to ask questions, to work with them, be collaborative, to figure out, right, what their best solution will be, not what my solution will be. And I think that has been definitely something I'm working towards, imposter syndrome, as they say, but I think the more open-minded I am, the more curious, the more that I think we're just lifelong learners at the end of the day, the more that helps me. Something that I'm very intentional about as far as counseling goes is my relationship with my clients. Any of them who are going to watch this or potentially watch this will know exactly what I mean by this. My relationship with my clients is so important because it's hard enough to talk about sex. It's hard enough to go home to your spouse in the privacy of your own home and have these kinds of conversations, let alone driving somewhere, meeting me, a stranger, and going, yeah, this is our sex life. And so really, I try to make it as comfortable as possible. I incorporate a lot of humor. I like a bad metaphor. I think as terrible as they are, they do stick. I would say that is my bread and butter of my approach as a therapist, is my relationship to my clients. So the most unexpected, or I guess amusing thing that's happened to me as a therapist is also kind of embarrassing for me. My client, as I'm saying, I prioritize my relationship with my clients. During one of these times, they learned what my favorite movie was, my favorite movie is Twilight. They also apparently also love Twilight, and they wore their Twilight pants to session, and it was as hilarious as it was very, I don't know, it made me feel really good about the relationship that I have with this client, and just how special our bond is. For them to go out of their way to wear something so silly specifically for our session. Very appreciated, and